Hey guys, welcome back. So in today's video, I want to do a 2024 anime figure collecting statistical review of the year. Yes, it's late because I'm a terrible YouTuber, but better late than never. So last year I published a video where I scraped a ton of data off the internet about anime figures, and I kind of presented some of the findings over the last 5 years. So I do recommend you check that video out first, because this video is only about the data from 2024. So we're gonna go through some things like what's the most popular character, the most popular anime, which manufacturers are the most expensive, what's going up in the aftermarket, what's going down, etc. I have so much to cover. Before we dive into it though, just a few caveats about the data I've collected. I'll put some on screen, but mostly I've collected this from my figure collection. It's very user generated. As for my aftermarket pricing, I'm using a price from Lash and Bang if it's available. This is a Japanese secondhand reseller, so this might be like a little cheaper than US prices, I'm guessing. Before we get into the anime figure stats, I did try to become an economist for like 2 seconds. I'm not one, so this isn't very helpful. But I did find online that the anime merch market is worth 10.8 billion US dollars, and it is expected to grow at a CAGR of 9.4% from 2025, this year, to 2023. And I saw this graph, I found it pretty interesting, that anime figures is a significant portion of the market, but not as much as clothing. I didn't realize clothing popped off as much as this graph is saying. But yeah, not surprising. I feel like anime is getting like more mainstream, more popular, more people are just watching it. And with that, more people want to buy anime figures and other merch. First up, I want to look at the anime figures released by animes. So if we look at 2024, this isn't really surprising if you watched my last video about this, but the most popular anime is actually original figures, which is not from any anime. I've noticed original figures based off of original illustrations really pop off in like the last few years. I feel like a lot of not safe for work figures are based off original art, but a lot of companies like Union Creative and My Ethos will just make a lot of original characters, and I myself buy so many of these. It's probably my favorite category of figures to buy. They're just so unique and so beautiful, so artistic a lot of the time. So I definitely understand the hype. The second most popular, I think technically here, is Vocaloid, but on my figure collection, it's split under Vocaloid and Pia Pro characters, but to me, I'm just gonna call them both Vocaloid. This is not surprising. Hatsune Miku reigns supreme in the anime figure sphere. Next up, we have Azure Lane. I'm actually kind of surprised by this. I kind of thought Azure Lane was really popular a few years ago and now it might be less popular, but maybe it's just the figures were announced when it was popular and now they're kind of releasing. Maybe it's still like super hype. I feel like Blue Archive. I don't know, there's too many gachas. I barely keep up these days, but I'm surprised to see it so high up. Next up is Fate Grand Order, the granddaddy of gachas. It's still kind of hidden strong, hanging in there. Then everything gets pretty equal. We see a lot of the big popular animes here, like Chainsaw Man, Dress Up Darling, Oshinoko, Jujutsu Kaisen, Frieren getting in here, which is awesome. And then nothing else here is really too surprising. We can take a look at the trends and compare how this number is different from last year. Most of the big hitters have stayed the same, but there was like, I guess, a huge increase in Dress Up Darling, Oshinoko, Overlord, Blue Archive. I'm guessing these are things that just popped off a lot last year than they did the year before. And then Spy Family just dead. Barely any Spy Family figures. I don't feel like people like it less. I just think it's just had its time. And then when we look at the trends over the last 7 years, we can kind of see here how original figures have really blown up. ReZero is dying, and a lot of the big gachas and Vocaloids have kind of stayed fairly consistent. Fate Grand Order probably being the most consistent out of all of them, always having around 27 figures released a year. I like how I'm talking about this like it's stocks. Bye, bye, bye. All right, now I want to move on to anime characters and what figures are getting released. Now, if you've seen my last video or if you're an anime figure collector at all, I don't think you're going to be very surprised to hear that in 2024, the most popular anime character to get figures is Hatsune Miku, and she got 65 figure releases this year. For comparison, the second highest is Marin, who got 16 figures, then Albedo with 14, Frieren with 8, Elena with 7, Gojo with 7. Hatsune Miku really just stomps and demolishes. This is why people can just be a Hatsune Miku collector, because she gets more figures than like the top 7 combined. It's wild. I'm not surprised to see Marin in this list. A little surprised to see Albedo. I don't actually watch Overlord, but I thought it was a really old show. So I don't know if Albedo's just in like the later seasons and she's popping off more, or I don't know. I guess she looks pretty cool, so her figures look pretty cool. Frieren, totally not surprised to see her in this list. Love that anime. Everyone else loved that anime, so I'd expect to see a lot of figures of her. Elenia, I haven't watched that anime, but it does look really cute, so I'm not surprised. I am surprised to see Bridget from, I think, Guilty Gear, it's like a fighting game, coming in like 10th place. I feel like that's wild. I just saw so many figures of this character, and I feel like not every video game gets this treatment. Like the Fire Emblem characters do not get this many figures, you know? They get like 1. If you're lucky, 1. And like Bridget, yeah, she's got a cute design. She gets like 5. What's going on? If we compare now the characters to last year, nothing too surprising here. We see like Marin really popped off this year. Frieren, obviously. Super Sonico being just this steady state is so funny to me because she's so ancient, but I love that she still gets like so much attention. And secretly, I'm kind of happy to see Raphtalia's demise. I don't know why Raptalia figures were so popular for a while, and I feel like I really didn't like many of them. Especially that China dress one, man. I really didn't like that figure. And now if we look at characters over the last 7 years, we can see Hatsune Miku is just a wave that keeps growing. You can't stop her, she's demolishing everything else. And we see some iconic waifus kind of die here. Rem's on the decline, Asuna, Ram, and once again Sonico is like just so steady, just like getting like a solid like 3 or 4 figures every year, no nonsense, just in there. Next up, I wanted to look at the price of anime figures this year, and I think the most decisive thing when it comes to price is the manufacturer, because I know in our heads we all have like expensive manufacturers and then very affordable ones. So I figured the best way to do it to keep it fair is to take a look at the average price of a 1/7 figure by different manufacturers that were released in 2024. And if we take a look, we can see Prime 1 Studios is the highest here. I don't think this is surprising. Prime 1 Studios makes almost statue-y, really big, really elaborate figures. So this doesn't surprise me that their average price here is like 42,000 yen. Second place, we have QuezQ with an average price of 28,000 yen. This is pretty funny to me. I think everyone knows QuezQ is so expensive, but I really didn't expect to see them more expensive than, for example, Eastream or Ulta. But yeah, QuezQ is pricey. It's a shame. They make some of the kind of, I feel like the niches designs and characters that I really like. So every year I still randomly will pick up a couple of QuezQ figures for an arm and a leg. Next up, we have Eastream at 27,000 yen. This isn't surprising either. They make generally pretty elaborate and big and expensive figures. Furyu, I feel like their scales are getting more dramatic and big, especially a lot of their Arknight ones. This is why I think they're up here. Then we've got Max Factory, Ulta, Sega. I feel like this list is about what I would expect. If we go all the way to the other side, we can see Maithos, 19,000 yen, average 1/7. I love that. And shout out Kotobukiya, 18,000 yen, average 1/7 price. Now, obviously, take this with a grain of salt. Some manufacturers make very simple 1/7 and some make very elaborate ones. This is just like an average of all of them, so it's not really a perfect representation, but I think it's pretty right to my experience as a figure collector, this ordering. I just want to take a quick break to show off some of the things that were sent to me by gsjj.com, specifically their Keychains Co portion of their website. So Keychains Co is under the GSJJ banner, where they specifically help people make customized keychains. So they reached out to me to see if I would like to have my own customized acrylic charm made, and I said yes. So I worked with one of their designers. I provided a sketch of what I was thinking, and I had this little kind of Nendoroid inspired, anime figured inspired figure box of a figure collector. I think the design turned out really cute. Their designer helped me kind of put in all the colors as well, and I worked with them on making sure that the final design was something I liked. And the keychains turned out really well. I really like the quality. They're really nice and sturdy. I don't think this will fall off my bag. And it's super cool to have like a custom idea be brought to life. So if you're interested in making your own customized keychains, gs-jj.com can help. One of the great things about them is there's no minimum quantity to order when you're producing a customized keychain. They also support a ton of materials. I could have went with an enamel, acrylic, or a PVC keychain. They had special types of keychains you could order as well, like a bottle opener one or a photo one. You are supplied with a free design service, so you work with the designer to make sure your design is what you want. They also offer bulk discounts and really fast shipping and turnaround time. Please check out the link in my description below if you're interested in creating your own fully customized keychain with GSJJ. Thanks again to GSJJ for sending me my own keychain. All right, next up, I wanted to look at the prices of figures compared to the anime they're from. Take this with a grain of salt because I'm once again only looking at 1/7 and there actually aren't that many 1/7 releases per anime in 2024. So the most expensive is Vocaloid with an average price of 31,000 yen. Yeah, I guess there are a lot of really expensive Mikus out there. Then we've got Fate Samurai Remnant. I literally know this is because of that Musashi figure that looks insane. Then Princess Connect Redrive. Then the Slime anime. What? Are these expensive? I wouldn't have thought so. And then Chainsaw Man. Average Chainsaw Man figures 30,000 yen. All right, now for some of the cheaper anime figures. Dress Up Darling, Bocce, and Freerun all down near the bottom. I guess this is pretty expected. Most of their 1/7 would just be like a character standing there. Now we're gonna look at the aftermarket gains or losses. So caveat here, I'm only including figures where I can get an aftermarket price in this calculation. I'll put up what percentage of figures have an aftermarket price from Lash and Bang, because it's not 100%. I know that for sure. So I wanted to know, out of all of the figures that came out in 2024, figures from what anime did the best in the aftermarket and which ones did the worst. So we're gonna look at the poopers first. The biggest bombs are Girls Frontline figures. These went down an average of 30%. Oh my gosh. It is mostly this poor DP12 character, Rip. She went down by 60%. Then we have, it hurts me to say this, we have Evangelion figures tanking 14%. Oh, my girls. This is mostly due to the Kaworu figure here, which tanked 30% in price. Then we have Azure Lane. We saw there were a lot of Azure Lane figures. On an average, they went down 11.5%, with this Unicom one dropping like 50% in price. Then next up, we have Pokemon. I'm very surprised to see this here because over the data of like the last 6 years prior to 2024, Pokemon were the most profitable, as in they most went up in price. So maybe they've just had some re-releases this year that like didn't go so well. There might just be more out there than the demand now. And in fifth, we have ReZero figures, which are going down an average of 7%. Honestly, not as bad as I would have expected. So what's going up? One Piece figures. One Piece figures have always done quite well. These have gone up 27%, with this Boa Hancock figure doubling in price. Then we have Overlord going up 30%, mostly from this character doubling in price. Then we have Hololive figures going up 31%. I'm not surprised by this. Hololive fans go hard. With this Yukihana Lamy figure by Max Factory doubling in price, which is insane because this retailed for 31,000 yen. And in the first place, Persona 5. Persona 5 figures go up by 32%. Kind of wild. With the Amakuni Ann going up by about 60%. Hey, pretty good. That's a figure I have. Now I'm gonna do the exact same thing, but for characters. In the pooping bin, God, that's so harsh. The worst performing characters are Bridget, Tai Hao, who's that? From Azure Lane, if you know, you know. Rei from Evangelion. Rip my girl. Second worst is, never said this out loud, Meltrellis from FGO. And the worst one in 2024, this is completely not surprising, is Riser from Riser Atelier. Yeah, I see way too many of those figures. They're so cute, they're so gorgeous, but who is buying them? And then flipping it over to our queens, our Aftermarket Gain queens. In fifth place, we have Altria Pendragon. Kind of surprised, but I guess she kind of iconic. In fourth place, we have the Persona 3 protagonist. Okay, King. Third place, Hatsune Miku, average going up by 13.7%. Then in second place, we have Yusada Pecora, going up by almost 30%. Damn, Hololive fans go hard. In first place, we have Anne Takamaki. I don't know, I feel like she was also very high up in the, she might have been first in the review from like the last 5 years. I feel like Persona 5 fans also just go really hard. Okay, now I'm actually interested in like the specific figures that bombed the most and that went up the most in the aftermarket. Kind of want to see if they're like even nice. Okay, starting with the fifth biggest flop, we have this Rizelin Stout 1/6 Atelier Riser where she's on the beach. This dropped by 45%. I don't think this is too surprising. I feel like there are too many Riser figures and not enough people to buy them. The fourth biggest flop is another Riser figure. It's this gorgeous Wonderful Works Riser figure. Honestly, this figure is so cute. I love it. I'd be tempted to buy it, but she went down also by like 46%, which is a shame because it's a very cute figure. In third place, we have this Asuna 1/7 dress shirt version by Hobby Stock and Wing. I do not like this figure. It does nothing for me. It retailed for 16,000 yen and now she sells for about 8,000. So she's dropped like 50% in price. I think this one's fair enough. I don't think this is to do with the demand or like Asuna not being popular. I genuinely just think this is such a mid figure that was overpriced on release. Our second biggest flop is this DP12 1/6 Echeverria Lantern from Girls Frontline by Fat. It's an alright, it's a pretty cute figure. I feel like I've definitely seen nicer Girls Frontline figures of a girl in a China dress sitting on the ground. I think other people probably agree. This figure went down by 54% in price. She originally retailed for 21,000 yen. Now she goes for about 10,000 yen. And the number one mega flop, biggest flop of the year. So mean, I'm so mean. We already mentioned her, I think. It's this Azure Lane Unicorn 1/7 normal version by Wanderer. Oh, she's just a small little boat. I mean, it looks like a very mid figure in my opinion. She retailed for 21,000 yen. I feel like the Girls Frontline one we just saw is more worth it than this one. This does not look like it's anywhere near worth that price. The community agrees because she's dropped by 57% in price this year. Kind of brutal. Now we'll take a look at the top 5 winners of the year. Starting in 5th place, these are always interesting. We have the Sayori Pop-Up Parade from Doki Doki Club. What? She retailed for 4,000 yen and now she goes for 10,000 yen, which means she's gone up in price by 125%. Kind of wasn't expecting this. I wouldn't expect a figure like this to go up so much, especially for a game that I feel like already peaked and then all the figures got released. I don't know if they like remaster Doki Doki Literature Club or something, but I guess it's easier for cheaper figures to go up in price. Like a 30,000 yen Toho figure doubling in price, I feel like is way harder than a 4,000 yen figure doubling in price. Our 4th biggest winner is the Mizuki Kotori 1/7 from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. I don't understand why this figure would be so popular, but taking a look at the My Figure Collection thread, I feel like she really popped off in the Japan domestic market, and that's the aftermarket price I'm looking at. So she retailed for 18,000 yen, and now she goes for 45,000 yen, which is a price increase of 154%. Damn, that's a lot for like a pretty mid figure. God, I don't want to be mean. Our 3rd biggest winner of the year is the Maka Orban Soul Eater Pop-Up Parade figure. Another Pop-Up Parade. This one I feel like I can understand more than the Doki Doki Literature Club one. I know Maka's like a really well-beloved character and Soul Eater still has a really strong fan base. So she retailed for 4,800 yen. Now she goes for about 14,000, which means she's gone up 187%. Oh my gosh. I think this one's just a case of not enough people pre-ordering her, and now there's not enough. Although for pop-up parades, I feel like there's a pretty high chance there'll be a re-release. All right, this 2nd biggest winner, totally not expecting this as well. This is the Kirigoe Mima from Perfect Blue Pop-Up Parade. Pop-up parades are going hard. This is crazy. I have this figure. I did not realize she'd gone up so much in the aftermarket. She retailed for 4,300. Now she goes for 12,800, which means she's gone up 193%. That's actually insane. I think similar to the Maka one, Perfect Blue is a pretty old but cult classic anime film, and so more and more people just saw her, but there weren't enough people that pre-ordered her because it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of niche to know about pre-ordering something like this, maybe. And yeah, I don't know, that's kind of wild. And so our number 1 winner of the year, it is not surprising, it is another pop-up parade. It is the Alucard from Helsing, Pop-Up Parade L by Good Smile Company. He retailed for 8,000 yen and now he goes for 24,000 yen, which means he'd gone up 210%. I feel like this one might just be worth more in the Japanese domestic market because his My Figure Collection thread isn't like everyone crying about how they didn't pre-order him. But I still think the lesson from this is if you see a pop-up parade of a character you really like and it's kind of niche, like, I don't know, and you just really like it, I think you should just pre-order it and get it, because I didn't realize they would kind of pop off like this. I didn't think they'd like double and triple in price. That's wild. And I feel like it kind of hurts the soul more knowing you could have bought it for like 40 bucks, but now you'd have to spend over 100 if you wanted, and it's just kind of hard to justify that purchase. All right, lastly, I just wanted to cap off with the 5 most controversial figures, and then we'll fully end with the 5 most owned figures. So I'm judging controversial by the number of comments it has on its My Figure Collection thread, and I'm only including figures that aren't re-releases. So figures that were for the first time released in 2024. So the 5th most talked about anime figure this year is the Marin Beastyle 1/4 bunny version by Freeing. This isn't really surprising. She was a very big character in 2024, very popular, and I think people were very divisive about her face on this figure, like whether it was a cute smile or it was a little weird, and whether the proportions of her arms looked weird or not, and also just did Beastyle drop the ball on this? Did Freeing drop the ball? Should they have done a little more? Is it worth the price? So many things to talk about, so it's not surprising that she's 5th. Then in 4th place, we have the Eve 1/6 body harness version by Pink Charm. I feel like this was maybe just talked about because it's a very pretty figure. It's got a lot of artistry. Eve is a very popular character for figures. I've seen a lot from her, and this might be like the best one and the one that people want the most. I think it was also an Army exclusive, which I think maybe made it kind of hard to pick up in the aftermarket as well. The 3rd most talked about figure is the Aki 1/7 by Mythos. I have this figure. I love this figure. I didn't really follow the thread too much. I feel like maybe this was talked about because Chainsaw Man's popular, Aki is popular, Mythos is a popular manufacturer, but I think there were some initial prototype images that people weren't too happy with, that they were a little concerned about the quality. Yeah. The 2nd most talked about figure is the Nier Automata Pod 42 Yoha No. 2 Type B Square Enix Masterline. Jesus, this is a big ass name. 1/3 DX version by Prime One Studio and Square Enix. That was a mouthful, but it's basically a big 1/3 2B figure. Not surprising this got talked about a lot. 2B is a very, very popular character, and this is the price point that people want to talk about, and it's 1/3 as well, and I think there's a lot of discussions about how much space she's going to take up, how heavy she is, how to ship her, is she worth the money? Yeah. And the number 1 most commented anime figure released this year is the MDZS 1/7 Good Smile Company Shanghai figure of these 2 gorgeous men playing musical instruments. I'm regretfully not on the MDZS train. I've just not boarded it yet, but it looks like a very fun ride, and this figure looks amazing. The 2 bunnies on the side is so cute. No doubt this whole fan base, this fandom wanted to talk about this figure. It must be amazing for the fans of the series to get a figure of this caliber released. All right, lastly, let's rapid fire through the top 5 most owned anime figures that were released in 2024. I'm going off the My Figure Collection numbers, and I am disregarding re-releases. In 5th place, we have the Tea Time Cats Volume 3 Cow Cat by Ribos. This is such an adorable figure, and she's pretty affordable, so I can understand why so many people picked her up. 4th place, I kind of wasn't expecting this, and I regret not ordering this figure now, but this is the 1/7 Karin from Fire Emblem. God, she's really beautiful, and Fire Emblem fans do go hard. I really wish I picked this up now. I hope she's not too much more expensive in the aftermarket. In 3rd place, I wasn't expecting this one. This is the Good Smile Company Marin 1/7 swimsuit version. What? It's a cute figure and she's not too expensive, but guys, I just prefer Marin in like a cuter outfit. In 2nd place, we have a Buy Cute Bunny. These pop off, very affordable, very cute as well. And we have one of Makima coming in 2nd place. I can understand why this is very popular. Chainsaw Man popped off this year, and it's just a very affordable way to get a Makima bunny. Unless you want to spend like 300 bucks on the Freeing one. And the number 1 most owned figure of 2024 is the Aki from Chainsaw Man 1/7 by Mythos. I'm kind of surprised to see a male figure come out on top, to be honest. I love this figure. I love Chainsaw Man. I love Aki, so I had to pick it up. Probably the same thought process for a lot of other people. But yeah, that is all I had to ramble on about. I feel like I didn't prep as well for this one as I did for the other one, so I feel like I might have rambled a lot. I am sorry if this video is too long. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the insights. Do they kind of match up with your vibes of what happened in the year? I definitely feel like I learned a lesson about pre-ordering pop-up parades that I really like and not waiting for the aftermarket. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys have a good week. And with that, bye-bye!